All right, here we are. What's up, guys? I'm here reviewing ShhhhiiiHEAD's gameplay in Halo Infinite. Let's see my critique on his gameplay. Maybe we'll be able to help out with some constructive criticism and whatnot. Who knows? Who knows? All right, so here we go. ShhhhiiHEAD's pushing left off the spawn, getting shots, throwing a grenade, jumping, boom. All right. So I'm gonna rewind that first life and try to see, what I think could have been done better. In my opinion. So, when you start a game, I think the first thing you want to do is kind of get keep in mind like where your teammates are and just try to make a play off them. So as we can tell here, there's people going sandbags, so this is a decent way to get assistance off this gameplay. So you have at least some potential help here. All right, so here I'm gonna pause it and play it slowly because I noticed something here. Um, he's I think maybe three shots up at this point, and right here, reticle lands on top of the guy's head. So if instead of throwing a grenade, he would have shot, or I don't know if I should say he or you. I'll just say he because if he's watching this, he'll know who I'm talking about. If he would have shot, he would have gotten the guy down to one shot, and it would have been maybe an easy cleanup for a jump shot, unless the other guy took cover really well, or maybe even just a grenade throw. Then probably would have been better. Um, but at this point, this grenade throw, it doesn't hit its target, and it keeps you stuck in an animation because the animation for the grenade throw, you can't shoot during throwing grenades. And during that animation, this other guy here on the left gets 1, 2, 3 shots up on you. So that's throwing a grenade mid gunfight is something I really try to avoid, unless like you're almost guaranteed that like you're gonna hit the guy with the grenade. Which at this moment it doesn't because he backs all the way up there, and this grenade ends up exploding right here. Um, boom, and it doesn't really hit him. So basically, yeah, I would avoid throwing a grenade. That's kind of my take on that play right there. I would have just kept shooting. Um, but you're here, throw a grenade. It's not the end of the world. So you pick up commando. That's great. Commando is really good, especially for those long range, medium range shots. And then here, right here, this play I disagree with. Commando's great, but you're weak and you see two people that you're fighting. This is essentially a 1v2 at this point because people in sandbags haven't really helped out. As of yet, so they might be caught doing their own thing. So pick up commando. And one thing I noticed, because he gets caught in a grenade animation too. So this guy's backed all the way up. So at this point, I would, if I was ShhhhiiHEAD at this point, I would switch targets, try to get the shots on this guy. And if that were to have happened, he would have at least been able to catch him on like one or two shots before the other guy started challenging back. Maybe even three, and it would have been an even gunfight. But it would still be a 2v1, so I would still play that carefully. Maybe I wouldn't have challenged all three shots, but at least one shot probably would have maybe backed him up or slowed him down a little bit, so it would have bought you time to recharge your shields. Another thing I noticed, the grenades that he throws two grenades. There is one, and then boom, there's the other one. If you see how he jumped over here, my thoughts on the split second decision making process that led him to jump over here, I think it was a misdirection. Like it was a calculation on the angle of the jump. My idea is he's gonna jump to try to get up in the air, get a little bit of headshot cover from the top wall, so that he can then land right here and then back behind this corner. That's kind of my idea. Or maybe he was going for like this corner somehow. I don't. This corner doesn't really seem too helpful in this scenario. One corner that does seem really helpful is this corner, because if you're here, see, you block both of them, and they would have to push up all the way over here to get a sight line on you. So I would keep this corner in mind. I feel like a lot of people just they kind of don't use it because they haven't used it in the fight, and if you haven't done it, you don't really think about it. But yeah, in the future scenario, if you're trying to play your life or drag out the gunfight a little bit, I would try to keep an eye on like this corner right here. What's in this bag? I want a bag like this. This is a cool looking bag. Anyway, wait, what does it say? UNSC in instrument and supply. Bet. All right, so you got instruments in here and supplies, so you can play music while surviving on your own for a long time. That's dope. And we got ammo boxes, so if you run out of ammo, sorry, I'm getting distracted. This guy throws 2 grenades, and as you can see by letting it play out in slow motion a little bit, the explosion of the grenades, the blast radius, there's 1 and there's 2. I really don't think if he was in this corner, if she had backed up into this corner, I really don't think the grenades would have hit him. And at this point, he would have cover. He would be alive. This guy would have no grenades. The only worry is about this guy's grenade, but like to get a grenade to land right here from the angle he's at, it would be a long shot. Maybe he'd have to bank it up there, and maybe that would do it, but he doesn't. He doesn't do that. So this is probably the safest place you can be in this scenario if you're 3 shots down and getting your shields back. And then maybe because he has a second grenade, he only threw 1. He could maybe bounce it off the grass or something and catch the guy trying to push him at some point right over here. While shields recharge, let's see, 1, 2, ooh. Shields were recharged. Right now, this would have been a 1v1. As you can see, that other guy just completely disengaged and went bottom mid. It would have been a 1v1, and it would have been even. Oh, this guy has a green gun out, so you don't know how that would have played out. But I'd say this is a lot better chance to win on this gunfight, especially if you threw a grenade and caught it. Even without the grenade, even if it was just guns, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perfect. And if you miss shots, like at this point, your shield's recharged. You have more than enough time to literally walk over here in cover while you're shooting 1, 2, 3, and then prolong the gunfight a little bit more. And so this would give you a lot more wiggle room to stay alive and call out, help your teammates, be like, yo, there's 1 bottom mid. Maybe even try to cut through to fight that bottom mid guy. Who knows? Or get the objective. Whatever you want to do. So, basically, yeah, just 2 things, 3 things. Avoid panic grenades. The 1 panic grenade over here wasn't too fantastic. Try to use little pieces of cover and just hug walls, and force them to have to push up on you. And avoid challenging when you're really weak. That's about it from this life that I got. Yeah. Oh, and I guess go into theater mode and just kind of explore options, because as I do it, and I've learned a lot from this. Like, I didn't even know that spot was a thing until reviewing this game VOD right here. I learned it right here. So now I'm probably going to be using that. It's fantastic. Oh, yo, and yeah, there's a guy mid who probably is going to challenge this guy right here, right? Boom, yeah, look at that. It would have been a 2v1, easy kill, and then yada yada. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. All right, let's move on to the next life. Let it play out. All right, let's see. Getting the ball. Oh, OS is up. Oh shit, OS. Oh, this guy right here. The dipsy doodle. Boom, you're dead. Okay. OS, where's OS at? All right, he's not over here. But I'm gonna get my shields back. Shit. OS. Okay, hit the ball. Boom. Damn, a guy jumped down. Boom, I'm dead. Ah, shit. Sorry, that's my commentary. Anyway, so there's a few things I want to point out in that life. I'm gonna kind of fast forward to it and then stop and kind of try to point it out. When you're in a respawn, my advice is to play off your teammates. It's common sense. Like it kind of goes without saying, but if you don't kind of like consciously meditate on that for a little bit, people forget it. They don't apply it. It happens all the time. They say it and then they're like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just gonna do my own. And it doesn't work. So the reason I'm saying that is over here, looks like we have one of them dead, and our guy is running. I mean, we don't know that one of them's dead unless we're checking the kill feed. But paying attention to all the variables at this point it's a lot to ask. So there's no worries there. But here, first thing you notice from your POV, boom, this guy's weak. All right, so you're like, okay, this guy's weak, and I should try to help him stay alive. All right, so here we go. He's running the scoreboard, which is good. Help his teammate. And then if you notice up on the top right, see OS is at 4 seconds. Boom, right there, 4-second OS. So my critique about this play right here is that I think instead of going for the ball, she should have gone for, by she I mean shithead. He should have gone for OS, because then the OS would have helped him secure the kills, so that maybe either he or his teammate would then be able to get the ball after those kills. Looks like there's some chaos commotion going on top mid. So yeah, tunnel vision for the objective. That's like the key thing that I would say don't do. Don't tunnel vision for the objective. Whatever game mode, flag, ball, strongholds, king of the hill. There's so many times I see people just kind of jump in the hill and then just all die because there's no sight lines, no cover, none of that. So yeah, you don't want to be one of those people. Definitely be on top of, especially in like matchmaking. It's a little bit different if you have like a team that you go over VODs, you go over strategies, and you kind of have that trust and faith in like your teammate to not dive in with you. Maybe you dive in and he has you covered. But if you're playing matchmaking, that trust doesn't exist, and most people are just gonna desperate and die. So you want to be the standout guy to not do that. At least in matchmaking, up until you start to develop a team or whatever. Yeah, definitely, I would say hold back on objective and play more so for slays. And at this point, key slays, not just any slays, but slays and key moments like this one, like when OS is coming up, because this leads to them getting the OS, and that's not good. So at this point, teammate died. He's like, oh shit, okay, so grenade, that's a good grenade. And then he starts getting shot on the left. Honestly, I mean, at this moment, this is one of those, at this moment he knew he fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like that meme. This is one of those moments where you're like, you're screwed either way. So personally, if I was in his shoes, I would have just tried to get the kill on the OS guy, to try to buy our teammates like a few split seconds of time to maybe rush over and secure that OS, or maybe even I don't know if you can burn it by killing the guy. I don't know if it apply, like if by killing him as he puts it on, if that's a burn. I'm not sure on that. I gotta look into that. But oh yeah, definitely. And as you can see, the guy's shields are down. You could tell by the armor animations. So he's one shot. If he would have looked at this guy and just shot him in the head, OS would have been dead. He probably would have been dead too, but at this point, like, I wouldn't really bet on you staying alive anyway. So that's what I would have done. So, but as we could see, he manages to get the reversal on this guy. 1, 2, 3, boom. That's fantastic. All right, that's you don't see that too often. The guy's up on you, 5 shots, and then you're able to just turn around and just embarrass him. That was good. So at this point, all right, guy has OS. You're one shot, like absolute, and he's probably pushing you. So at this point, you're kind of faced with only 2 options, really. Are you going to go left, or are you going to go right? Or are you going to try to, I guess, maybe back up into A, but that's kind of really far away. So it's not really an option at this point, especially if you're this weak. This is just a roll of the dice. In the heat of the moment, I personally think the better option is the right side, because if you go left side, you run the risk of running into more of them unless you're conscious that your teammate's up there, or maybe one of them is going to be pushing through there. So if you go right side, you have cover from those angles at the same time. So but then you run the risk of course, running into OS if he's pushing this way. But you run that risk anyway this way. So I'd say right side is probably usually the better push. Like more than 50% of the time, the better. Like I'd say 90% of the time, the better push than left. So here we go. Or the play could have also been, get your shields back while looking at one of the 2 corners, just kind of guessing which one he's going to pop out at, and then using your shields just try to get damage on him and maybe with help get the kill. So right now we don't know where he's coming from. So we're playing it slow motion. We're looking, we're checking. We're like, all right, doesn't look like he's there. He still might be pushing this way. So I'm just going to back up a little bit. And then I'm going to look over here. So at this point, honestly, I disagree with that check. With this check right here, because if you're one shot, if you're absolute like this, and the guy has his reticle trained right here, boom, you're dead. If that guy was standing right there on like the outside with OS, without OS, whatever, you're dead at this point. This is a kill zone, and you're in it. He just got lucky that the OS was back there. So I think he realized that, and that's why he backed up. So that's split second decisions. You can't really micromanage too hard, but you got to be really careful checking corners. Like I've made it a habit myself to try to, especially when you're as weak as one shot as he is at this moment, to literally don't peek at all. To just try to like hug the edge and just try to expect a push until your shields are recovered at least a little bit. Because otherwise, you're basically just giving them a kill. So here we go. Peek this way. All right, so OS isn't over here. So at this point, we've eliminated basically the entire field of view. We've eliminated from here and from here. So it's like either OS is hiding behind the turbine, which if there's a teammate there, it's very highly likely not the case, or he's already pushing, which, as you can see, he is. So at this point in time, he's pushing. I would go here, block the top spawn, or block the top push, get cover, get shots on the back, maybe even have a chance at a back smack if he goes for the objective, or if he's going around. And then maybe if he goes around, you can just kind of back up a little bit, jump and dance around this box, or maybe even try to just run up here and play your life. Who knows? You got a lot of wiggle room here. Maybe even jump up here, challenge like all the angles at this point. But definitely I would have moved forward at this point in time because you're almost guaranteed that this guy isn't going to turn and shoot you. And you would have cover to recharge your shield. But he says, I'm going to crouch, look at this corner. I'm thinking maybe he's going to try to get a melee on him, which is all right. It's not a terrible play. But as we can see, these guys are starting to put a lot of pressure. So that's really not good. And that's ultimately the OS guy just said, screw that guy that I saw that was in scoreboard. I'm just going to go for the objective because my teammates are pushing up, which, I think it worked out in their favor. The OS guy, in my opinion, should have went for the kill, but it is what it is. Boom. And, of course, here we are. Boom. So I guess this video is getting a little bit long. We're already more than 20 minutes. So I'm just going to go ahead and end it here and just kind of cover the key things that I noticed, just kind of like a few of them. So, there's the whole, just really quick, there was the whole, the three things that I noticed from the first life, which was initially, don't panic grenade. That's not a good idea. Like if you'd have shot, boom, you would have had him one shot right here. So don't panic grenade. If you find yourself down like this, just hug the wall and just play your life as much as you possibly can. And utilize cover. And try not to jump out when you're weak. That's kind of the first 3 points. I would work on just focusing on that for the next game that you play after watching this video. And then I guess the next life after those first 3 are don't tunnel objective. Instead, focus on capitalizing on map positioning, getting the advantage for your teammates, key kills, key moments, power ups, that kind of thing. And then don't peek when you're one shot. As basically, that's kind of actually the same point as in the first life when I was over here by the door. Because you technically weren't one shot, but jumping out weak is kind of the same thing as peeking when you're one shot. So I guess that's like a double reinforced point that I would make, just having observed this. So that was the main thing I would be focusing on, is try not to peek when you're weak. Don't weak peek. Anyway, that about wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be making more. Peace.